At dawn, a journey of agony. These Palestinian women all have loved ones in jail. Occasionally, they're allowed to see them, so they know what happens inside.
My brother was badly tortured. He had a cut and stitches on his head. For sure he was badly tortured.
In Israeli jails, rooms are set aside, sealed off completely. The interrogation techniques used have long been legal because of what they call it, the use of moderate physical pressure.
I call it torture. The physical behavior and the mental treatment of the prisoners altogether sum up into torture according to the international law.
This is the most notorious detention center in Israel, and it's here in the busy heart of Jerusalem. Now and every day, in the cells right behind me, men are undergoing severe physical pressure as part of their interrogations. Today, in the most important court case here in decades, this practice has been defined as torture. For the victims, this in itself is a critical milestone. Abed al-Amar is 31 years old. Because of a permanent back injury, he lives in constant pain. He spent 9 years of his life in prison. Like thousands of other Palestinians, he was suspected of collaborating with terrorists, and he was tortured to extract information. He says he's innocent. Now his spine is permanently out of joint.
You can see, here we should have this line. And you know, it's very clear here. We can see the problem.
They told me what was going to happen to me at the first interview. They told me I was going to have a permanent problem in my back between the discs. He explained it very specifically to me. It was an interrogator called Dori. And they also explained to me what kind of problems I will have with my stomach and what kind of problems these positions cause. They told me you have to choose between illness and disability or confession.
Abed was interrogated for 53 days in total. For weeks he was shackled and left to hang. The Secret Service interrogators put him in other positions, chosen to put maximum pressure on his lower back.
He sits on the chair. If the chair is not comfortable, I believe it's not so comfortable, it's still a chair and he can sit. I don't think that anywhere you make the life of a person in interrogation as good as he feels at home.
شعرت يعني هاي بتسبب عندي وعند غيري يعني شعور بالعزلة.
You create a feeling of isolation. You start feeling that you're losing your senses. You can't see, and because of the loud music, you can't hear.
بطلت تساعد. أنا بطل يسمع كويس. بشوفش شو موجود حوالي.
And the awful smell which creates a pain in the head.
اللي بنحطوها دائما على
And at the same time, the nerves in the stomach start acting up. You start feeling as if at any moment you can throw up.
The Secret Service says this is not torture because they follow guidelines. Everything is logged and doctors sit in.
And every interrogator has to write down, after he finishes his daily work, exactly what he did, what he didn't do, what he supposed to get, what he got, what he didn't go. We don't let anything to the chance.
I assure you that there are doctors and psychologists who make the lists of how much can you press on people's hand or stop the blood circle in order to bring them just to the edge of death but not to kill them. Yeah, it is. And therefore the interrogators have to report every and each step they do. and they have to give a real report. What is this? Scientific torture?
The men in charge have no remorse. They say these measures are rare, and when they are used, necessary.
I slept very well. I knew that we used it only when we wanted to save life. And if you saved one person, I think you justify what you do.
This is the issue. Terror attacks like these only last night, when simultaneous car bombs killed 3 people. This 70-year-old woman, a passerby, was in a critical condition. Many Israelis believe that interrogating Palestinians with force is justified if it can prevent all this. Zion Square in central Jerusalem. Human rights activists reenact the interrogation scenes. They say 85% of Palestinian prisoners are tortured. In other words, almost everyone. It's routine. Well, why don't you stop your terrorism then? Shouted this woman to a Palestinian in the crowd. Other Israelis just stare in disbelief. Abed takes walks in the evenings. He can't work and needs 2 expensive operations, or he could be partially paralyzed. He says his interrogation will be with him for life.
Sometimes the mind doesn't have control, and these pictures keep coming back to me in full detail. The torture, the cold, and at the same time, I can't remember what I ate yesterday. The interrogation stays with a person all of their life.
Today's court verdict is good news for those against torture, but it won't stop it overnight. And meanwhile, the victims will just have to suffer the pain. Good morning, Mother, this woman cries across the valley to Syria.